And they're off. Here we go.
Summer is in full swing, the big races are upon us, and perhaps if you haven't made the choice to jump to Ultraspire, now would be the time to do so. Or if you have a stink experience with your old pack that's hanging on for dear life at Tarawera, why don't you treat yourself? Head to www.ultraspire.nz to check out the biggest range of the comfiest, most beautifully designed running hydration vests in the world. www.ultraspire.nz for more.
Get along too while you're on the line. On the line? Online.
On the wire.
On the wire. On the interwebs to Wild Things. Check out the new and amazing things you can get your hands on if you score yourself a VIP discount. If you sign up as a VIP member, then Rob, by using the code DCR2023, will give you an epic new $20 credit for new VIP members. There's a lot of new in that sentence, but that's because I'm a bit excited about it. So get along, do that, wildthings.club, enjoy.
Something that's not new, currans. We've been on the currans buzz for ages. They make us feel gooder. New Zealand blackberries are ace. Head along to www.currans.co.nz to read up on the science behind these wondrous little purple capsules. You get 20% off with your first order of Currans 30s with the code DIRTCHURCH. That's www.currans.co.nz. And bringing it home, as always, a ride or die, further faster, the best independently owned outdoor store in the known universe. Goodness me, we've got something cool planned for 2024 with the big FF, but more of that later. If you are heading out on climbing, paddling, tramping, running adventures, running with dogs, look no further than Further Faster for all your gear and expertise needs over the summer. Head to 57A Buchan Street, Sydenham, Otutahi, Christchurch, or hit them up at www.furtherfaster.co.nz.
It goes something like further, faster, there in Christchurch. Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious. Go to further, faster now.
Oh, further, faster, there in Christchurch. Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious.
Go to further, faster now.
Dirt Church Radio, episode number 264. I'm Matt Raymond.
And I am Eugene Bingham. Tēnā koutou katoa. Welcome to our special live show, really, isn't it?
It is a bonus omnibus bumper edition of Dirt Church Radio podcast, direct from Tarawera Ultra-Trail 2024.
Yeah, the 15th edition.
How good. We're sitting in a
bunker,
artfully lit boardroom at...
I think it's the Sir Howard Morrison boardroom.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Rotorua royalty. 15th edition of this race.
Unbelievable. It's a beautiful day here in Rotorua. Stinking hot.
Not
a cloud in the sky.
Hey, I just want to say too, that fancy music at the top, what'd you think? We are debuting. We debuted our new theme tune and music is debuting this week, composed by the absolutely incredible and phenomenal Andrew McDowell of DigiCake, a composer, a musical genius, a sound engineer extraordinaire, and an incredibly fast runner, someone who's been very, very helpful to us over the years and has represented New Zealand heaps more than we have, which is none. But anyway, it's impressive. What have you represented New Zealand?
No, I haven't either. But I guess most importantly, he's our mate.
He is.
And just so thankful. So, yeah, new music, same us. And here we are. Look, we were really keen to just bash this out for you as soon as possible because, striking while the iron's hot and all that. We will be back later in the week with a full rundown of Tarawera Ultra-Trail, but we wanted to just get this out.
Yeah. So this show, we wanted to bring you a Q&A that we did, the Elites Q&A, plus an interview that we did with Troy Sachs and Zach Friedley, which we'll come to. But first of all, this Elite Q&A, which is an absolute treat, and what a lineup it was. Dan Jones, Ruth Croft, who should need no introduction, Tarawera champions, the champions of champions, basically, aren't they? Kate Avery, a British runner who is slaying at the moment and has switched up from shorter races to the 50k last year at Tarawera, came third. And then someone really, really special, right, Matt?
Yeah, Tim Day, course director of Tarawera, someone who's been, there or thereabouts from the start and then came on board to co-own the event with Paul Charteris, legend, just incredible human being, and his discussion it's not very often I'm left speechless. You'll hear this, that's just classic Tim Day, and I said this to you before in the car, it's not often I feel starstruck as well, and I know Tim, and every time I hang out with him I feel the better for it, and just what a fantastic conversation. We're very, very excited, so we should probably just stop nattering and crack on.
Kei aku nui, kei aku rahi e te ti e te tā, tēnā koutou. He mihi nui ki ngā mana whenua o te rohi nei, ki ngā tupuna, me ngā tangata o te waka nui te arawa. Tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou. Ko hui hui mai nei, nau mai, haere mai, whakatau mai. Welcome to the DCR, Dirt Church Radio 2024 Elite Q&A here at beautiful Rotorua.
Just so stoked to be here. I'm Matt Raymond.
I am Eugene Bingham.
And please, it's a scorching day. If you're hanging out with us in the sun, please look after yourself. Lots of water, hats. A lot of you will have a long way to run tomorrow, so please take care of yourselves.
An ice strategy, perhaps?
That's right.
Yeah. Look, we've got an amazing lineup for you today with some great talent from around the motu, so we should crack into it from all corners of the trail community. But let's start with our first guest, no stranger to Tarawera, busy over there chatting. For the 15th anniversary, is coming back to the place where she ran her first 100k race. Please welcome to the stage. Is she looking? Is she looking? Is she looking?
Ruth Croft.
Ruth Croft, winner of 2021 here at Tarawera, 102, 2022 Western States Endurance Run winner, Queen of the West Coast, Ruth Croft.
Hello guys, how are you?
We are well. We're well. How are you?
Doing well. Pleased to be back. Yeah, looking forward to it.
How does it feel to be back doing Tarawera Ultra-Trail again?
Yeah, I got asked that in a question, and it kind of reminds me, I've been here since I came the first time in 2015, I think it was my first 100k. And then I've done it, this will be my third time, and I've done the 60k as well. And so I think it's always cool to look back and see your evolution kind of as a runner, how you've come about. Because I think the first time I did 100k, I had no idea about fueling, race management and all that jazz. And so I feel I've got a bit more of an idea now.
I think you do have a bit of an idea, just quietly. But well, on that, there'll be lots of people out there today who this is their first event. What are, if you could give them one or two tips as a first timer, what would you say to them?
I think the main one for an ultra is always to just keep eating and keep drinking. If you can stay on top of your nutrition, then you prevent having bonks, and I think yeah. And also that too.
Who bought him? Yes. Anyway, can't control the crowd that turns up. What are you looking forward to about tomorrow?
My folks are here, and I've given them the duty of crewing me, and they had a very terrifying experience the first time. My dad crashed the car, and so I'm looking forward to having them out there because it's not very often that they see me race. And so I'm looking forward to watching them stress a little bit and get really nervous.
So normally it's the crew watching the athlete get nervous, but we're flipping this year. It's you watching the crew get nervous.
Yeah, definitely. With my old man, he gets very, very stressed.
Can we expect to see any dinosaurs out on course tomorrow?
The dinosaurs are taking a sabbatical. They're still in Europe, so you probably won't see them tomorrow.
Oh, I see one over there. Might pop out on course. Yeah. If things go well tomorrow, what does a good race look like for you?
I think a good race for me is, obviously having good sensations throughout and just finishing strong, and then staying on top of nutrition. That is pretty much for me a good race. Yeah.
Do you feel any, do you feel any sense of expectation? This is the start of a season. I mean, what does Tarawera 102, what does it mean for you, and what does it kind of look like? Does it drive your season going forward?
As for expectation, it's so early in the year, and I don't want to be firing on all cylinders right now. And so I know I'm fit, but I'm not in peak shape right now. So I don't have...
Same.
So I definitely don't have that expectation. I think just want to go and have a good day tomorrow.
Thinking about the course, what's your favourite part? I mean, it's so beautiful, and it's like an embarrassment to riches. What is your favourite part of the Tarawera course?
Changed a lot, so I always I'm terrible. I have no idea where I run, and then I just show up in places and I'm like, oh, I've been here before. So I actually, if we talked about the old course, I think my favourite part is it Tarawera Falls? Around that area. Yeah, where it gets kind of technical before Okitana, is it? Yeah. But we're not doing that this year, are we?
No.
Yeah, so I'm not super familiar with where I'm running tomorrow. I know I'm doing a loop and an out and back, so that's all I can tell you.
Just keep going forward. Is that how you normally, do you usually stand on the start line like that, kind of just leaving the race to be like it is, or are you someone who studies a course intimately before you start?
I think for me, I like to see the last half of a course, because I like to know exactly where I am for the finish. But for the first half, I can not see it and be totally fine. But obviously, a lot of my races I would normally go a bit earlier and recce the route. But obviously, I haven't done that this year.
Yeah. What have you been up to this year? I mean, I don't mean that like what have you been up to if you haven't been checking out the course?
So we came back to New Zealand beginning of December, and I've been doing quite a bit of tramping in Arthur's Pass, which has been amazing. It's kind of the time of year where I'm not on such a structured training program, and there's way more flexibility to go do those sort of missions, and I love tramping, and just slowing down completely, and just putting a pack on and a bunch of food and walking. And so, we did the 3 passes in Arthur's Pass National Park, and then looking at doing 5 passes hopefully next week as well.
Was there one of the famous Croft super competitive tramping missions this year or last year?
The Christmas tramp got axed this year.
Ooh, controversial.
I know, very controversial. My brother's got 2 young kids, and so we did the family thing this year. But I did go out on a tramp with my sister. But she's very non-competitive, so there was no elbows being thrown.
Well, at least not from her.
Exactly, no competition.
All right. Well, Ruth Croft, you are an amazing champion. We always love catching up with you, and we can't wait to see how you smash it out there tomorrow on course.
Thanks, guys, and good luck to everyone tomorrow.
Right. Always good to catch up with Ruth, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, from the other side of the world, or even the South Island to just down the road, we'd like to welcome a local legend to the stage. 2023 was a banner year for this athlete with his win here last year in the 102, providing him with a golden ticket, which led to a 5th place at Western States and a 12th at UTMB. He also won Kepler for a record-equaling 6th time. Please welcome to the stage Whakatane's favourite son, Daniel Jones. Dan, come up, mate. Welcome. Literally in the hot seat.
Wow, it's better in here than out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a hot one. How are you feeling?
I should talk into the mic. It's good. It's good. The training it feels like a long summer. It's a beautiful summer here in New Zealand, so there's nothing to complain about there. And I got to spend it training up in Wellington, down in Wellington, spent a bit down in the South Island, taking some people through for the coast to coast run course and doing a bit of guiding there. So that always helps with the base fitness. And then some hiccups along the way, but then back into some good training in the last few weeks.
I mean, you talk about a hiccup. I mean, you were ill with COVID. How's the recovery been?
Yeah, I think, this is my first time getting COVID. So I think holding off for this long was pretty good for my body. And I always thought, I'm just immune, I've got this. But then no, I am, I'm not one of those few that have I've avoided it for a while. But anyway, I came right. I respected the process of getting better, and I think that was the last time we last chatted, was basically when I was working my way through back to good health, and I didn't try and rush things. I had a good base built up with as I said, some solid training, and the big thing was just making sure that I ease back into things without trying to push it too early. And I've had some good workouts since then, some good indicators that show that the fitness is still there and I haven't lost anything. But, you just go to race day and you do what you will do and the body will respond how it will respond. And, mentally I'm ready to race. So that's a big tick for me.
In terms of that mental preparation, you say mentally you're ready to race, you're here for it. How do you prepare yourself mentally for a race? I'm not asking for like a blow-by-blow description, but how do you deal with any expectation or pressure? What makes you feel like you're mentally ready to throw down?
Yes, I think the first thing is, it feels like the last time I raced was a while ago, and that wasn't actually super long ago, but Kepler Challenge back in start of December. So I gave myself enough time to recover from that race, and motivation really seemed high, like trying to get back into some really good fitness after that. I kind of built up quite a short build up for me into that race, so I felt like I just wanted to keep training, and I feel like my training was going really good. Obviously, coming off the back of last year's win, it's interesting, right? Because I can go and have a super successful race where everything goes to plan, but who knows what the result will be. So I'm just going to go out there and give it my best, and if my best is good enough to win it tomorrow on that day, then that'll be amazing. But who knows? It's a real quality field by the look of things, with guys from South Africa, America, Aussie. We've got some good competition.
It sure is, and it's going to be one of the races to watch for sure tomorrow. You've recently started writing about your running, and I mean, shout out if you haven't signed up to Dan's Substack. It's Lessons from the Long Run. That's right. But it's been really interesting to see you writing about that and being quite open about what you're going through. What's that process like? I mean, running is called a lonely sport, but here you are sort of putting it out into the world and being quite open with your challenges you're facing and where you're going and what motivates you and that sort of thing. How have you found that process?
Yeah, so I was urged onto doing a bit of longer format type socials through my manager, Jace, and he prompts me with some really good ideas to write about each week. And sometimes, as you say, they're the challenges that I've faced in training and racing, because we all have them, and I think it just brings it out into the open, because everyone goes through these, the weekend warriors to people that are just going out to achieve whatever goals they set for themselves. Everyone's got these sometimes challenges, but sometimes information they may need, or sometimes it's just all about celebrating the successes that you have as well. So I don't just make it's a good balance, I think, between the negatives and the positives, and mainly positives, I think, and hopefully people are getting a lot out of it. It's hopefully a better avenue, a more of a learning avenue than what you probably just see through social media. Yeah,
that's right, because social media tends to be the glossy kind of shots of that you want people to see, but you're being quite open, and not always didn't mean to make it sound like it was a negative thing, but it's just kind of like all shades, isn't it? And that's, picking up on another thing you said, we just had a conversation, didn't we, with Zach Friedley and Troy Sachs about how trail running, two amazing adaptive athletes, about how trail running, no matter who you are, no matter where you are in the field, no matter what challenges you face, when you stand on the start line, it's a great equalizer, isn't it?
Oh, is it going? Yep. I think that's one of the coolest things about the trail running as a whole is, if you were to, line up on a golf course, maybe golf you can actually, but you're probably just slowing the whole team down like a lot because they're waiting up for you, or, team sports and that. But, you can go to the start line of a trail running event and you are lined up with everyone from all corners of the world, all levels of ability, and it's so cool to feel that atmosphere at the start lines. I know we're going to feel it again this weekend, and I'm super excited about that. I love the start. It's so good, just to share that atmosphere on the start line where everyone's on the same page, we're all together in it, and again, just seeing everyone just ecstatic crossing the finish lines. Everyone's done their own thing out there, and hopefully they can have some good days out there this weekend and nights.
Absolutely. Just finally, and bringing it back specifically to Tarawera, you grew up down the road in Whakatane, but you kind of took your time to get here to race. How did you know it was time to come and race Tarawera?
Yeah, so I wrote a bit about this in my last Substack.
Yeah, I'm totally stealing questions here.
I grew up as an endurance athlete in multi-sport and really was focused on the long distance racing, and it took me a good part of, I guess, would have been 14 years to compete in Tarawera, and it always felt a little bit like, I should be going out and doing this event. But for me, coming here and winning last year, it was just like, this was almost my first real big success in my ultra trail running journey. So to actually have waited that long and build that suspense, I suppose, it just made the feeling of having a really successful race just really special. And to celebrate that, with friends and family and even my fellow competitors crossing the finish line, it just made it so unreal, like a memory that I'll hold forever.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned too the Hecka as well, a really special part of Tarawera.
Yeah, and I try to keep it a bit of a surprise for those that don't know what's coming, because
just ignore that.
I mean, it's just something incredible, and to have it performed in front of me when I cross the finish line, it's just something that it sticks with you. And I think back and I don't get emotional that often about races, but when I think back to that moment of crossing the line, breaking the tape, and having that right there in front of me when I'm probably at my most vulnerable, I suppose, you're mentally stuffed, you're absolutely had it, and to have that is just unreal. It'll be awesome if we could get a massive crowd down here to whoever comes through the finish line, even no matter if you win or not, but it's just very cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, all the best for tomorrow. Have a great race, and we can't wait to see you, see what happens and what your day looks like tomorrow. All the best.
Thanks, guys.
Righty-ho. Next up, we have a British runner, Kate Avery, here. Well, look at that.
Oh, we've got the fans. All right, let's give a round of applause.
How you doing?
Good.
Good.
Yeah, this stuff makes me very nervous, so bear with me.
Oh, it's all right. We're nervous too. Don't worry. It's fine. They're all nervous. Look at them. Yeah. Look, welcome back to Rotorua.
Thank you.
So you came here last year for the 50K and placed third. How was that?
Yeah, it was an amazing day. It was my first ultra, my first go at the longer distances. I loved it. Loved the course, loved the atmosphere, hence why I'm back again.
And it's so nice to have you here, and, kudos not only to being super fast, but sitting talking to a couple of knuckleheads like us in front of a steaming hot field full of also very nervous people. So we're all in the same boat. But how was the process for you of, you said it was your first ultra distance. You traditionally understand sort of the shorter, faster stuff. How was it transitioning up?
I definitely think I learned a lot last year, and then coming into it this year, I feel like I'm better prepared for it. Yeah, it was just, I feel like it's just like learning a new sport, really, because it's not really comparable to a 10K on the track or the road. Yeah, it was just enjoyable, and I've really enjoyed this block leading into it.
What was the, coming from that sort of 10K, the track, the road, what were the sort of into the nitty-gritty stuff were there any commonalities?
Yeah, I mean, you still got to train hard, but it's just very different training. But yeah, I think like the process that I take into it, although the training looks different, like the stuff I would do around it would be similar, and yeah, the way I go into race, tapers and stuff, that kind of stuff would be the same.
Tarawera is at the start of the season. I mean, is there something that Ruth talked about? She sort of leads into this and sort of uses it as a gauge and not maybe firing on all cylinders. But what are you treating this race like? Sort of, is this a springboard onto other things, or is the start to sort of gauge where you're at as well?
Yeah, I think I feel like I'm ready to race, although it is the start of the season. Yeah, use this as a starting point to build into the rest of the year, and hopefully this year I'm going to do more 50s. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
What is that? Doing more 50s. What does that mean for you? Is it like that's as far as you want to go? People always ask, once you've done 50, are you going to do more? So I'm deliberately not trying to ask that question, but I just want to get a sense from you as to where you place the 50 in terms of, where you want to go with this sport.
I think I was pretty naive last year after I ran this 50, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll easily go and do 100 at the end of the year. And then I had a terrible experience at OCC, and I was like, I'm going to stay with 50s for a little bit. And I think, I'm just learning, and I think just getting used to running the longer distances is a massive thing, and I think another year on. But I do have 100K in the back of my mind, maybe here next year, the year after that. I'd love to try one. Yeah.
And it's I mean, lots of people out here, this will be their first 50K. You look at the other races and you go, it's sort of quote unquote only 50K. It is not only 50K. It is a 50K race on the trails. You have to respect it, right?
Absolutely. Anybody that says, I'm only doing 50K, I'll be like, I'll ask you that at the end.
That's a good response. What tips would you have for people who are lining up tomorrow? There'll be a few people out here today, maybe a bit nervous. This is their first time, maybe their first trail race, but certainly their first 50K. What would you say to them?
Don't start too quick. But then also the same is what Ruth said. Make sure you feel well. And especially if it's a bit warmer, just make sure you're taking on plenty. And then, pace yourself, and I think you'll be good to go.
Yeah, perfect. What you mentioned, you've been happy with the training process. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about, where you've been training, how that's been going, what it's looked like?
Yeah, so I'm based in Melbourne at the moment. I'm going to try and chase the sun for as long as I can. So I'll be in Australia for half the year and then do a European season. But so I'm based in Melbourne, so I'll go to the Dandenongs. I was in Bright a few weeks ago, just getting on some mountains, getting in some longer runs, some longer tempos on the trails, hills. Yeah, that's basically. Yeah. And I also do keep in a flat session, a quick flat session a week, because I feel that gets you fit.
Once a track runner, always a track runner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, no, I don't.
So, the mountain aspect, of course, Tarawera is a, known as a runner's course. Mm-hmm. I guess that's why that flat fast session is worth keeping in there, isn't it? Yeah,
definitely. And I think if you can turn over comfortably at a quicker pace, then when you get out and you have to do, let's say 4-minute Ks, it feels easier if you've been training quicker or something like that. But I think it's good to keep in.
Now, I'm just going to take a wild guess here and say that you didn't grow up in Melbourne.
I did not know.
Where's home? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the northeast of England. I was there, and then I went to uni in the States. Then I lived in the Midlands, and then Melbourne. So I've been around a little bit. Yeah. And where did running start for you? I started at secondary school. We did the school cross country, and I beat all the boys, and I was like, I'm all right at this. And then, it just went from there. I did all sports as a kid, but I enjoyed running the most. So. Yeah.
And just bringing it back to Tarawera, so last year was your first time down here, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. What was it that brought you to Tarawera?
I'd heard good things about the course. Yeah, just word of mouth, really. But yeah, I'm really pleased that I came because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we'll keep on coming back. And what will a good race for you look like tomorrow?
I'm going for top 3 and hopefully run quicker than last year and then see where that gets me.
Yeah. The 50K looks like a good race, particularly the women's race.
Yeah.
Looks like an amazing race. So you
strong.
Yeah, you ready to rumble?
Yeah, I'm going to go out there and give it my best and be as competitive as I can be.
Fantastic. Well, look, all the best.
Thank you.
Send it, and we'll see how you get on and look forward to seeing the results.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Avery, everyone.
All right, well, on to something really special.
Really special.
So this is someone who has been involved.
Okay, was special too.
What? Yeah, no,
Kate was special too.
not to take away from the specialness.
Dan's pretty special.
Okay,
Ruth's quite special.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're into the, I've managed to alienate the elite runners, and now we'll bring it home with some awkward questions. But this is 15 years of Tarawera, and we would like to bring to the stage someone who is intimately involved in that process, has left blood, sweat, tears on the course, has been here for a long time and is still charging and still as passionate about it as ever. Needs scant introduction, but we should do it anyway.
We probably should.
Yeah, please welcome to the stage Tim Day. How you going?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm real good. Yeah, just cruising, mate. Cruising.
15 years. I mean, can you believe it?
Oh, look! You look around here and you think about the 62 people in year one, and then look at this. And you look at all the commentary and you see all these faces, and I just think, wow, how many thousands of people have we been able to give the opportunity to come and set foot in our place and challenge themselves? It's awesome.
Well, on to that point, I mean, your mate Paul Charter has had a pretty singular vision, and the last time I talked to him about Tarawera race, I think I asked him, it had been going for about, I think it was 10 years at that point, and I said, have you been surprised by the growth of it? And he said, yeah, no, I was surprised it took this long, to be honest.
Yeah, Paul always had, he's a visionary man, right? He had a hell-bent vision of actually creating a whānau, creating a family based around trail running from the neat experience he'd had at his time in the US. And he said to me right from day one, I want this to be a thing, on the world tour, something that people want to come from all over the world, a melting pot of people to come and do. And but he was always like, we're not there yet. We're not far, we haven't got there fast enough. We haven't, and it's been a hell of an interesting journey, and I think we're both immensely, we catch up all the time still now, and we're immensely proud of where the event's come to now. So it's but he was always more urgent, and I was always like, let's just learn to walk before we learn to run,
And for those who don't know, how did you first come to be involved with the event? What was your first role at Tarawera?
As a runner, actually, yeah. If I'm 100% honest, it was a drunken New Year's night with a mate of mine. Had done a bit of trail running, got to midnight, let's do some kind of an event. We went for a run for a couple of hours, and we entered the 85-kilometre relay.
All in the same night?
All in the same night. Right. About 2 a.m. our entry went in on New Year's Day of way back then, and we just thought we'll do a trail marathon each. That's the 85K, no problem whatsoever. And really enjoyed the process of training and the journey and being on our trails. And I'd been running and fishing and hunting, and I work in conservation. So these places are what I do for a job anyway. So to run through them made total sense. And then my mate pulled the pin about 2 days before the event, so I ended up doing the 60K sort of by accident. And that reset my thought process. I'd never really even contemplated doing an ultra. We were going to go, and I'd done a few marathons and trail things, and I love being on trails, but then with a day to go, I rang Paul and I said, "Oh, my mate's pulled out of the 85." It was small back then, you know. You talk personally to the race director about everything, you know. And I called him and he goes, "Well, just do the 60." You know, like just do the 60. And I'm like, "Oh yeah." So I did, and I really enjoyed it. And that was kind of that was it. The bug was kind of set, and it's never gone away.
You came on board in more of a full-time. You came on board with the courses, and then after the cyclone, the famous cyclone year, you came on board. In your time with Tarawera over that 15 years, what's been your sort of, if you can pick one, your definitive Tarawera moment or experience?
Oh, it's the sum of a massive number of moments, probably, but it's being able to connect people. Anyone who was at the pori this morning would have seen the authenticity and genuine nature of the welcome that our local iwi give, and I'm very fortunate to work with those same kaumata and people in the conservation space and looking after te taiao. And so for me, the overwhelming and overriding thing, and I've got hundreds of examples of it, but is creating the opportunity for people to go on a journey, which is physical but much more emotional, and reconnecting them with nature. Like, I take it for granted that I live in a place where I'm connected all the time and I get to do it all the time, and I have to remind myself that not everybody is that fortunate. So to create that opportunity for people to be here and then to greet them at the finish line and to see their journey unfold, and whether it's one that ultimately leads to the success of finishing or just leads to the success of having had an amazing journey that changes you anyway, regardless of the finishing outcome. That's the overwhelming thing, is that opportunity we've created to connect people with what makes New Zealand unique, our special places.
Special places indeed. And you know, you mentioned the pōwhiri. We start races with karakia, with haka, with involvement from mana whenua of these lands, of this whenua. What is it? And you've been involved in that relationship, and it's always been there since very beginning. Why is it important to have that connection, and can you talk about what it means to this race having that connection?
Well, the race is nothing without that connection, to be quite frank. I mean, these lands are sacred. They really are sacred, and there's places I go on the course, whether it's trail prep or it's during a run or it's whatever, they're deeply spiritual. They've got huge cultural significance, and so for an event, you're just getting to play on somebody else. You get the privilege, if you do things right, of getting to play on somebody else's place. And for iwi that are here now, they're just temporary guardians of this place too. And so it's not something that's a cursory kind of an afterthought, an add-on. It is absolutely the fabric of this event, that we are at one with the people of this land. And as the race director or course director, designing courses, or in this case choosing a contingency course, for an athlete you might think that's about what trails connect together nicely, or what would make the most sense or be the coolest or sexiest thing for the athletes to do. It's actually much more about what is the right journey to take. And that sometimes means that we'll publish a contingency course that looks quite different to what someone might, be. And I'd love for us to be on our A course. One of my course team said to me last week, "How come you've sent me a contingency course file?" And I said, "Because we don't bloody getting to run the A course, the big journey, which follows the old warrior trails and all of that sort of thing." So, but what we have done is make sure that the essence and the spirit of the event is retained within that. And that dictates our choices and the comfort of our partners about that in terms of how we do things. So for me, it's the entire fabric of the event.
Yeah, it's the wairoa it's imbued within, isn't it? And of this whenua. I mean, there are so many special places and parts of this course. So this is a little bit like asking you to choose your favourite child. But can you nominate a part of the course that just gets you in the naka, gets you in the heart?
There are two. There are two. One is Te Ariki Isthmus. It's a really special place. It's got a strong feeling about it, and when I pass through there, that's on the Myla course. And the other part, which unfortunately isn't in this event this year, is on the Eastern Okataina track. You go over an isthmus or over a saddle from Lake Okataina to Lake Tarawera. And that's got really special significance for me because it's the last time I ran with a mate of mine who then committed suicide. So that was our last run together on the Tarawera course. He never did Tarawera Ultramarathon. It was before the Tarawera even existed. But we've been running those trails for years and years, and he did a farewell run with me. Not that I knew at the time, but he was running with me to say goodbye. So I'm getting a tear in my eye now thinking about it, and so for me that's personally incredibly special, that place. And I just stop and I rest, and I'll touch the ground, and I'll just have a moment and carry on. I love that place. It's not a sad place for me. It's an absolutely happy place for me. But it's got deep, deep meaning. And what I take from that is that everybody's got these journeys and these similar things that go on in their lives. And for me, the time I feel most deeply that connection to my mate, who I can't connect with physically anymore, is when I'm in nature and when I'm on the trail. And it's that's good for you. That's real good for you. You are grounded. And you guys know I run around in bare feet a lot. And that is being truly grounded. I'm connected to the whenua.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? We call it a sport, but it's not. It's much more than that, isn't it? There's something deeper going on here, and lots of races are special, but Tarawera's got something special about it.
Yeah, it's funny. One of the first questions I get asked I see, I know heaps of people who've been at Tarawera over multiple years, and they're like, "What do you think of the field this year?" And I'm like, "I've got no idea who's coming," which is really weird because I love seeing the amazing ability of the elite athletes and their drive and their dedication and the perfecting of their craft. They're unbelievable athletes, so that's phenomenal to me, and I love it. But it's obviously not central in my thinking in terms of designing and bringing the event together. What I think about is everybody who's going to come with their own journey and their own pathway. And, every year I will be out there with 5Ks to go, bringing that last runner home, wrapping our people up in the final love. And that's our duty to everybody that comes, is to look after them.
And having experienced that from you at the finish line, and also having seen you run people in. You've been known to run, like you said, you run those final people in. You've been known to run some faster people in too. Lucy Bartholomew springs to mind. How is it? You talked about that like it was a feast that you were laying, and the people come and eat. But you've created the feast, and whoever turns up gets to share in that. Does it inspire you to, do you ever think about pinning a bib back on?
Yeah, look, to be honest, about this time every year I'm just more jealous than I am organising. I'm sitting here going, I wish I was pinning a bib on and I was going to be out there. I have no desire to race, really. I have raced. That's cool. There's a cool challenge in it and that sort of thing, but that's my drivers are internal, and I'm pretty comfortable with where I'm at. I don't need to be racing against other people. In fact, it's probably unhealthy for me to get that racy mindset on, really. I am a competitive person by nature, and so racing changes the game. It turns it into a race, not into a journey. And so for me in this ultra space, you've got to hurt yourself a lot and be very dedicated to train to race. Hats off to those who turn up with designs on doing really, really well. That's a job, and I've got a family and a life and a whole lot of other things, and so the journey of Tarawera for me is about that working in our lives, not competing with our lives.
It's that oft overused term of balance, which is in some ways a myth, right? Because
there's nothing balanced about this stuff, honestly.
One question I was going to ask you, and I know, having had experience of running behind, I know that you can race running behind you and Steve Neary. I was telling Eugene in the car, one year I was in the second pack thinking I was doing pretty well, and you and Steve, God rest them, had time to build arrows out of sticks to point us in the right directions in case we got lost because you were that far ahead. So I'm aware that, you, when you go, you do pop off pretty hard. Tomorrow, and the last time I saw you as well was in torrential rain and mud, and that was a very enjoyable time running around Lake Tikitapu. Tomorrow it's going to be a different experience for people. What do people have to watch out for tomorrow?
Oh, look, it's I wouldn't underrate. 26 degrees is not 26 degrees at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. That might be what the thermometer says, but there's going to be very little wind like today. There'll be a breeze in the evening, which will be nice, but then that'll probably make you feel cool at night. But during the middle part of the day, staying well within yourself. If you're on one of those longer runs, you've got all day. You've got all day to get it right, and you can get it wrong really quickly in a short period of time. Overheating, the little road section out at Rerewhakaitu in the middle of the afternoon, last time I ran through that in the middle of the afternoon, my feet were melting at the end of it. It was definitely a sock change and that kind of thing. It's just look after yourself. Stay within yourself. Just keep the rev limiter down. Just keep trucking away. And if it means you stop and walk, even on a flat or a downhill, who cares? You just get yourself through it.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Things can go wrong very quickly, but you've got a long time to correct it. And that's, we always talk about ultra running and trail running as being a series of problem-solving events.
Yeah, and this course, like from Blue Lake home, there's a little climb up Tokarangi Pa, but really, all of that last 21k, if your legs are feeling good, is entirely runnable. Most people won't run up Tokarangi Pa for sure, but the last 7k, yeah, you can run, if you're capable of running 6 or 7 minute Ks, you can run 6 or 7 minute Ks, or you can walk them at 12 or 13 if you're buggered, and there's an hour, just like that.
And just so we should clarify in case anyone isn't clear, your job is to put the course together. What's your actual title?
So I'm the course director this year, so look after the couple of 100 kilometres of course and the team that put that together, and got a lot of the stakeholder relationships and landowners, and make sure that's sort of all together. So our crew, hence my radio on, is finishing off the course marking now and cutting the last couple of trees that have fallen down in the last week, and all of that kind of thing. So that'll all finish about midnight tonight, and then we'll watch people enjoy it, which is cool.
Brilliant. And you mentioned that last 7k. That's a great tip. Hold some back to be able to storm home. But are there any other points of the course in this contingency year that people should look out for, or maybe keep in mind as they prepare for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think for anyone doing the 100k or the miler, the Western Okataina walkway is all 100% runnable, but you'd be ill-advised to run bits of it. You can run it, but if you run all the way out there, it's a slow, gradual uphill to the top of the Whakapanako trig turn-off, and it'll tax you. You will have spent more than you thought, and then you bomb down the other side, and you get those eccentric contractions, slowing down, and then you got to turn around and come back up again. So I'd just be real conservative over that out and back section. There'll be some two-way runner traffic as well, so that actually might be a bit of a benefit, because there might be a bit of, look out for each other, keep, and give each other a bit of morale. So, but I'd probably be careful about that, and real careful when you exit Okataina heading back up that big climb. It's a long way into your respective races, and so respect it.
Yeah, respect the distance. Okay, look, e kare, mō tō manaakitanga, mō tō mātauranga, kei tāwhiti koe. You're an expert, and you're an amazing kaitiaki in partnership with iwi of this course and of this race that we all hold so dearly. So tēnā koe, and have a great day tomorrow yourself.
Oh, kia ora. Thank you, thank you, and good luck to everybody. Have a great time. I'll try to see as many of you as I can out there tomorrow, and Sunday evening.
Please put your hands together for Tim Day.
Right, these people have been sitting in the sun for coming up to an hour, so we should let them get on.
We should let them get on. Do you have anything to close out with, bro?
Well, I was going to say one tip. If you are running the longer distance especially, get your headlamp out before you think you need it. I have been... Oh, we got flashes. Get your headlamp out before you think you need it. I've been on the Eastern Okataina, scrambling around in my bag, in the dark, trying to get my headlamp out when I should have had it out earlier on. So that would be my tip. Get your headlamp out early. What about you, Matt? You've run this course a couple of times.
I can't sort of improve anything that Tim said. Just stay within yourself and trust the process. I know that sounds really vague and kind of anodyne, but it's the thing. You're there for a long time. You will have doubts. You will have thoughts that, either this is too much or that you could go out too quickly. Think next step, and just put it together. And above all else, enjoy what you have worked so hard to be here to do. You've earned the right to be here. You deserve to be here. Totally. Comparison is the thief of joy. It's the thief of fulfillment. And just enjoy tomorrow.
Yeah, draw the energy from around you, from your competitors, from the course, from your support crew, and just have a fantastic day. All right.
Yeah, well, for those of you doing the 100-mile race, we will see you tomorrow at 4 a.m. out at Furman Field at Kawerau, and then we will be joining the 21-kilometre athletes at Lake Tikitapu.
Send them off at the party race.
Yeah, the party race indeed. So take care of yourselves, and thank you very much.
Yeah, speechless. You literally handed the mic to me at one moment, didn't you? And just was like, I can't.
I was choked up.
You talk. Tim in particular, but all of those elites, the elites and Tim's an elite, were a great show. And so thank you so much for catching up with us at that live show in the heat. We also had the opportunity to catch up with Troy Sachs and Zach Friedley.
Yeah, both superstars, both adaptive athletes, and both savages, and both have been on Dirt Church Radio numerous times. We spoke to them last year at the Elite Q&A. We've literally run into Troy at UTA. Just fantastic. Kosciuszko, what a bloody group. They had Matthew with them.
Yeah.
Matt Bryson, who's running his first 21K tomorrow. He's also an athlete with an adaptation. And just for giggles, they had Coach Eric Orton in the room as well.
Yeah.
Which wasn't off. Which, talk about being starstruck. Goodness me. Zach
was on the show in January talking all about the Born to Adapt movement, which he hosted in Rotorua last week. So we caught up with that. Had some news about that, and then they basically rolled in with this crew, Eric, Matthew, who'd come over from the Bay of Plenty, and we just rolled into it, didn't we?
We should again be quiet and just get after it with this interview, and some amazing wisdom from these two incredible athletes.
Zach, you've brought a crew. What's the story?
You're rolling.
Is that how you roll?
Sometimes.
This is small.
And it's
he's cut down the crew.
This is small.
Troy, where's your crew?
I roll solo. They're resting.
One man wolf pack.
They're resting.
He's waiting to be belled.
Yeah, I'm the one man wolf pack. Oh.
Troy Sachs, Zach Friedley, welcome back. Whatever would you like to talk about?
Whatever Troy wants to talk about.
Tarawera.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
So Tarawera, we're here in New Zealand, the beautiful place of Rotorua. Rotorua, is that how you say it?
Rotorua, yeah.
Rotorua.
This is where we met last year.
This is where Zach and our bromance physically started. And it's cool to be back. Last year I did the 100 and got left found wanting. And this year I'm going to get onto the 50K track, and I'm going to try and leave a bit of myself out there and set an adaptive 50K race record that other people need to chase and come and get, because I think that's my way of putting the word out there that adaptive runners can run and be recognised and belong on the trail with our able-bodied counterparts. But You know, I love being here. I feel accepted. I feel wanted, and you know, it's a place that I believe other runs in the world can actually take a lesson from.
Zach, what about you? What are you down for?
What's the goal finish? You have a goal finish.
I have a goal finish, but I'm going to keep that to myself because it's you know, I just feel when you put that stuff out in the atmosphere, you know,
It's tricky, isn't it?
things go just a little bit AWOL. I'm not sure of the temperature. I'm not sure of the ambient temperature of my stump.
You're just going to run your best race.
I'm going to basically, I've got a leg plan. I'm going to wear an everyday leg, which will slow me down for the first 10K, which was a problem last year for the 100. So I dropped an hour and a half in the first 20K from my race goal and then just was struggling the rest of the way. So I'll wear an everyday leg, which is basically the same as what you guys have got, heel, toe, which slows me down to anywhere between 8 and 10 minute Ks for the first 10K. Then I'll slip into a road blade, which has got a lot of energy return and ergonomics for the next sort of 24.6 because we can't see any crew for those middle 2, 3 around the lakes. And the elevation is you know, it's sort of up 200, down 100 type thing. And then I'll switch into a trail blade, which is my own blade that I made with less curvature because we've got about 300-400 meters decline. And then back into the road blade for drop the hammer, 6K home.
Yeah.
So it's...
How long does it take to switch?
Depends. So I wear a silicon liner, so try and rip that off and put that back on anywhere. If the leg swells in between taking the socket off, then you've got to punch it in, which takes a bit longer. But I've got it down to about maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Wow.
So quick Formula One change, and then off we go. So
I got a question. Is your guide going to carry the spare legs? Or are you dropping them somewhere?
I've got no leg carrier. I've got a guy, Mark Zaglis, who is training for a miler.
Yeah.
And we've been training together, and I'm trying to train up him to be a leg carrier.
Cool.
Because next year we're going to hit some milers. So I'm training him up. So he's just running with me. Crew will have the legs to change. That's why that's specifically that kilometerage between it. So,
cool.
Right.
That'd be quite the drop bag experience, you'd have to think, hey?
Yeah.
Poor volunteer pulling that out of the horse trailer at 3 a.m.
The drop bags.
It'll be the first time they've ever seen that in the drop bag, guaranteed.
Yeah. Or the leg. Usually at UTA last year we hung them from trees so I could actually see them. So the legs were hanging out of the tree. Because, you know, you don't want to get disqualified because if a crew apparently touches you during a UTMB event, you're disqualified outside the
right.
But these are some of the things that adaptive policy needs to like explore because that's a necessity.
So that's like the Lisa Simpson, Bart Simpson thing. If you happen to find a leg hanging in a tree and that leg happens to fit onto your leg, well, that's fine. But if you get handed that, if I walk towards you and I'm swinging my arms and you get hit, yeah, wow, that's a loophole. It's a good. It's actually a loophole. It's quite a positive.
And then this is the policy. Like Zach said, the policy from UTMB needs to reflect these sorts of things because they're just not, and that's difficult when you have an able-bodied person running the inclusion program.
Yeah, yes.
Writing the policy.
Yeah,
yes.
You know, it's just a difficult area to be in, and you know, I want to talk positively about trail running.
Yes,
because I love trail running, and that's what I feel that my area of the world of trail running, as in Tarawera and UTA, have got their shit together for adaptive runners because I have nothing but positive energy. I get contacted by the race directors to discuss plans if I need anything else, if I need GPS coordinates for leg drops, for other things like that.
Right.
And it's very simple because it's communication. Wow. And that's all life is, right? You guys host a podcast. It's communication. It's talking about stuff.
Well, it's also being treated like a human being.
That helps.
That goes a long way because disability is not a bad word.
No.
As the T-shirt says.
The T-shirt says.
Let's crack onto that. I mean, just got Eric Orton doing some video.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's not intimidating.
That's not intimidating.
Yeah, that's like when we said you brought your crew,
Yeah.
Eric Orton, you know, it's not just any crew, you know.
Zach, you've been here for a couple of weeks.
And Matthew.
Yeah.
With Eric and Matthew. It's nice to have you along too. How was Born to Adapt?
Born to Adapt was awesome. It was our first international event that we ever did. We did a running clinic on Friday, and then we did a trail challenge in the forest on Saturday. and it was a inclusive running clinic. So we had people that didn't have disabilities and people with disabilities. And most of the feedback I got was that's never happened. Some of these people that came with blades, they'd never been around other people with blades. So it was really cool to have Eric leading some of these running drills that have helped me and many thousands of runners across the world. And we just had a blast. And then the next day we did the trail challenge where we had like 36 people running through the woods. We had Dan Jones show up who did a couple laps. Matt did, how many laps did you do, bro? 6 laps, so it was cool. It was fun.
You must be nigh on the local here.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time I talked to you, you talked about how the fact that, you sort of have this kind of vision or this kind of intention to, come to New Zealand. And you've been here in the last couple of years. I mean, you've been back and forth. Hey, how long are you here for?
So we'll leave on Monday morning to go to Queenstown, me and my wife, to chill for a week and do some things. So I'll be here total in a total of 3 weeks. And then we're already planning next year's event. I think we're going to have a lot more people interested. After the event, a lot of people reached out, and we got the guy here who knows basically every amputee in New Zealand. So that doesn't hurt us.
Yeah.
So we're already kind of planning that out, and the Tarawera doesn't know it yet, but I'm pretty sure next year we can probably make this race have the most amount of adaptive athletes of any UTMB World Series events.
Wow.
Just by, doing what we've done. Because we had 5 people with blades there last week, and they were already like, hey, we want to do the 21K.
Wow.
So that's, you add us in this room plus them, it's almost 10.
Are you running tomorrow, Zach?
Yeah.
So
I'm running.
It's not wow though, is it? Like the boys are going, wow. Like this is just what we live by. Like it's, you drop the pebble in the middle of a pond, and the ripples will eventually reach the edge. Yeah. And we say wow, but it's only exposure.
Yeah, it's just visibility.
It's visibility. If you haven't seen someone do it,
how the hell are you going to know?
You're not really sure if you can do it or want to do it. And it only starts with one lap, and it starts with one amputee doing it, because there's 8,000 new amputees every year in Australia.
Yeah.
And that's a big population that is just being ignored.
Yeah.
And it's like these events that are happening and just the exposure.
Yeah. There's a lot of room for opportunity. I don't know if you guys follow some of the social media accounts, but nobody from an organization put out that Troy crossed OCC's finish line. So UTMB World Series, UTMB Mont Blanc, nothing was shared. So how would anybody know that there's people out there doing it unless you know them personally, follow them on Instagram? But there's a lot more people out there than just people that follow Troy or whatever.
And just following up on that point of more and more people, it's great that race directors will contact you personally and say, what do you need? What can we do? That's fantastic. But wouldn't it be fantastic if we reach a point where they don't have to, because they've already built those things into, the policies are there.
It needs to be the norm.
It's easy.
It needs to be the norm.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, with how you register for a race, it's very simple to tick. Do you have a disability? Tick. And under that, drop down a box with what disability do you have, and then just like the pro racers get contacted.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, a simple email comes.
Yeah. Do
you need anything else? Do you need any other assistance? And then you just move forward. But my goal is actually to be able to run without assistance. To be able to run with a pack myself that can fit my leg in it. Because I want to do big ultras, milers, 240s, that sort of stuff. I want to go sort of long, so I want to be able to be self-sufficient. But, and I've had amputees come to me too and say, how do we get involved? I'm like, dude, just go to the bush.
Yeah.
Go to the track. Just start walking, start running. It's that simple. Left foot, right foot. Or for me, I say left foot, right peg. And that's how we go.
Making it, just bringing home that it is possible, that you can do it, that that we.
It's not special. Like Zach and I don't feel special.
You're not special, bro?
No, I'm not special.
I think Troy's special.
I think you both.
I think I'm unique.
I think it's a thing, isn't it? Like you both have a platform, and it's like the pool that you swim in. First adaptive athlete to be on a pro contract with a running company, Australian Sports Hall of Famer. Both of those platform
access, and it's amazing that you're doing that advocacy. I guess, and I'm interested to hear from you, Matt, in terms of, and not your regular everyday person, but like the barriers to access must be, if someone's ringing Troy and saying, hey, what's going on? What do you need? I'd be interested to see or to hear from you what those barriers to access for some person who is, a normal, not normal, but, like everyday person who
Everyday athlete.
hasn't had, everyday athlete. What are they?
So this is like my first run that I'll be doing, the Trail Challenge 21K. So, it's all very new to me. So I think I'll find this out after the event.
Yeah.
But like, it was really cool. I sent an email to the race director, along the lines. And I just said, look, I'm a below knee amputee, running the race for the first time. Can I have a support person join me? Because I never thought about that. I didn't know that you would need a support person or you need help with that. So it was really cool because they responded like straight away and just said, just give us a name and email address. And there was no issues. There was no barriers.
Great.
It's really cool to receive that information.
Yeah. Yeah. What are there things that would help make it easier, or that would, what are the things that need to be done? We're making great progress. As Troy says, Tarawera is doing well, UTA is doing well, but what other things as an entrant would make it, break down more barriers and make it more, easier for people to enter and get into the sport?
Need to understand, especially about being an amputee, is that our limbs are enclosed in a socket. Like, it sweats a lot. It's hard going. It's not easy. You could have rubbing issues.
Yeah.
Things can go wrong. Liners could break possibly, depending on the distance you're doing. So yeah, it's not the same as somebody that is non-disabled. Like, there definitely are barriers that's faced that non-disabled people wouldn't think about.
And I guess you highlighted too, Zach, last time we spoke, like, what was the point you made? Like, when you go into the shops and people are like, you're so brave.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm just going to the shop. I'm going to Trader Joe's.
Totally.
What's up?
Just living my life.
Just living my life, yeah. It's that thing, isn't it, that it strikes me, and I don't mean to kind of over-litigate this, but it strikes me as this is something that Eugene and I can do when we want to do it, and it's part of our life, but that's just, it doesn't define what we do. We need a bigger sign on the door.
Yeah, we need one of those big red flashing lights.
Yeah. Can't you see what we're doing?
On air.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, there's different layers. Like, and when I say layers, so my pacer is running, and he's actually an entrant in the race. So instead of having him as a leg carrier, which Tarawera, they don't charge you for a support runner. We've paid for him to be entered into the race because he wants that 1 stone, and he's running with me. So, but there's different layers. So he never understood that changing the silicon liner, and I in a 100K race, I'd actually break through a silicon liner 3 times. They're $800 a pop. So if you have a loose bolt or something like that, but to me, it's the same for an able-bodied individual that is doing their 100, because they have different layers. They're going to strap their feet. I don't need to strap my feet. So if I get a blister on my stump, I put a Band-Aid on. And yes, it's harder, but I think the accessibility and when I talk accessibility, I talk equipment, I talk knowledge, I talk all the things that people don't. Like, people talk about inclusivity, and I think inclusivity is actually having an avenue or a pathway to get to where Zach and I are. And the pathways like Born to Adapt, where there's a 5K event, an 8K event, a 10K event, a 12K event, leading up to the big UTMB events or trail events that they say that you've got a minimum of 15 or 21. To get to 21K or a half marathon distance on the road or trail takes effort and planning and work. You can't just show up. So, being an amputee, you still need to condition your stump and your body to run 5K. But it still starts by putting a pair of shoes on, putting your leg on, and getting your ass off the couch and going for a walk. So it still starts with being active and being healthy. And then through events like Zach's and Born to Adapt, and I'm looking at doing one in December, where we want actually power chairs. power chairs, people in wheelchairs, because we're choosing a track that's more level in Glenbrook and the Blue Mountains. And to be inclusive is to have able-bodied and adaptive athletes on the track together, because I think they learn from each other.
Yeah, that's what.
Because quite simply, my brother gets out of bed and he tries to run, and he's sure as hell not running like Kipchoge. He's got his own limitations with his body. He can't strike his left foot and right foot in the same position or get a perfect cadence or anything the same
Should
as
work
I
with
do.
Eric.
Exactly. Yeah. So you just want to actually be able to run as efficient as possible that your body allows you to run, and that's the way I look at it. And when you come to an organisation that you want to be inclusive, well, don't you just ask the people that are already doing it? Because they're going to give you the most simplest way for a rookie or a beginner to actually get on board and have a crack. And that's what we need. We need more new people to actually come and do it. We need a bigger population to be represented. And the only way to do that is actually to provide a pathway and exposure. And that's I guess Zach and I see that as part of our, place here. Like I want more amputees. Like, Zach and I talked about how cool would it be to actually be able to race against someone.
Yeah.
Like, and Zach's more for it than me, like, because my competitive spirit is quite devilish and toxic.
You don't say.
How
was it?
But like, he's like, just imagine what could happen.
Yeah.
Because then you start looking about blow-ups, like real blow-ups. Like you're actually not only worrying about your stump, but you're worrying about catching someone or not being caught. Or
I hear all my non-disabled friends on my on-trail team talk about hunting.
Yeah.
I've never been able to hunt somebody.
I just got goosebumps.
Oh, yeah.
Like always being hunted, like Black Canyons last weekend, you're watching Hayden hunting somebody. I'm like, man, that'd be sick. Yeah. Who knows what that would do to my brain? You know, like I have no idea.
Yeah. And you're going out to set a record, so you're already thinking of like.
Well, let's just I am going to set a record because no one else has done a 50K.
Yeah. But
no other amputee's done one, so I'm gonna. But I want to set it fast. Like I want to.
Yeah.
I want to run fast. I feel like I can. I haven't felt this good mentally with the distance. Like UTMB last year, OCC was for me
huge confidence, right?
Finish number one, and I gained the last 8 to 10K, averaging sort of 7.5 minutes on the downhill. Was so good for my soul and for my brain, knowing that my blade can actually handle the rigors of a proper trail, whereas here it's truly runnable.
It's fast.
It's beautiful surface. The weather's been really kind to us this week, and it's primed. Yeah, and I feel primed and ready to really give it a good, crack.
Give it a nudge.
Yeah.
How do you're a fiercely competitive guy. You've played, in a sport that is brutally competitive, and that, you go to combat. And how do you find the motivation to be able to stir up some of that competitive juice, or to be able to not just go out there tomorrow and just kind of amble along? How do you do that? How do you motivate yourself?
I think the only way in my mind to be truly noticed and break barriers is to do things that other people can't think of doing. And setting a really smashing time is going to make the powers to be feel that we belong.
Right.
And that's my way of it's not about being elite, it's about my personal best. And that's why I trail run, because it's truly inclusive. Was there an 82-year-old doing the 50 tomorrow, I believe, the oldest competitor ever to do it. And for me, I just look at that and I gain inspiration from that.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind being called inspirational because cool. Okay, if I inspire you and you and you, awesome. Because Zach inspires me. And my brother inspires me. So I get inspiration. And I have plenty of people still in front of me to hunt. And that's what I do. It's like I will be picking them off in the last 16K when we're coming downhill. But my motivation is intrinsic. I'm self-motivated. I think it's DNA. East German father, and I think it's a DNA of hard work. And I'm not sure if it's a point to prove, but I just, I feel like I was born to run 10 meters and run through a brick wall. And that's I just always believe in being the best that I can possibly be.
Yeah. On the start. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I think every
on the
professional.
Yeah, we've done this before. On the start line, are you a red mist descends kind of guy or a quiet determination kind of guy?
I actually like to, when I played wheelchair basketball, I was just focused. Like it was just.
This guy's name's in the record books next to Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah.
In the Olympic gold medal match, Paralympic match, says Troy Sachs, Michael Jordan. It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was, in like those 300 like the movies where you have that one guy at the top ready to go to battle. That was me for basketball. Now I sort of sit back. I'll be starting in group 2. I'll sit right at the back of group 2 because I get 5 to 8 minutes between group 3 and group me. So I can look forward and I can see all these other people and I actually take their energy. Like all that nervous energy for me is like, this is just, I'm ready for this. I'm trained for this and I want to do this. And, Zach and I got an awesome opportunity to be with Zach for a week and a half at UTMB in Shom, and we trained together and we ran together and we sort of, talked to each other and found out more things, and I learned stuff from him and just being in the Alps with someone else that was, similar-minded in regards to running to be free. This is I run to be free and I run for my mental health. I don't run to win races, although I am always the first Sachs home. So
I hope your brother's not listening. Do you know your brother's going to listen to this?
He's probably listening. He will listen, but he already knows because we raced in Orange. We raced in a little 30K, and I got one step on him.
Good man. I don't think that's the thing, isn't it? Like you talk about that point to prove, and in some ways it's everyone has a point, eh? Everyone has a point to prove, either to themselves, to other people, and that's the thing that I think we all in some ways sort of other people, like say Dan Jones or Ruth Croft, what point are they trying to prove? Is it same, different, or any worthy or less worthy than the point that say I'm trying to prove in it? And I'd suggest that it's actually not.
I think it's relative.
Yeah, it's all relative.
Because let's say our first time runner here, his point's to prove that he can make it.
Yeah.
He can finish it. What he's done is sufficient. Yet Zach's point to prove might be running a certain time or feeling strong on his stride for the entire race. My point to prove might be doing 5 hours, 8 hours, whatever. It's all relative. So sometimes it's someone's Everest is not 8848. It might be only 5 meters. So I think it's all relative, regardless if you're a Ruth Croft or anyone. I think it's all relative.
And that's the beauty of trail running in a way, isn't it? Is that there's validity in everyone who stands there deserves to be there.
Yeah.
And their motivation is just as valid as Ruth Croft, Dan Jones. That's the beauty of it, isn't it? We're all just standing there. At the end of the day, we're all just standing there, people who deserve to be there and to give it a crack, no matter what that may look like.
The race itself is inclusive.
Yeah.
It doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
You pay there to have some pain.
Yeah.
And everyone says have fun. I'm like, I'm not sure I'm going to have some fun. Maybe at the end I'll think about it and we had fun. But
Type 2 fun.
Someone says, to me, have fun in a race, and then someone said to me, have a fantastic race. And I'm like, have a fantastic race. It's like, well, because it's not about fun. It's about it's going to be fantastic because it's an experience. So the relativity, it's relative. It's a great experience. And again, adapted runners, we want to test ourselves, but we also want to be free. And when you're on the trail, you're free. Because to be honest, also now, people don't notice my leg until I'm out of earshot. And it's not because I'm fast, it's because I've worked on my technique so well that my shoulders aren't dipping and there's no limping. And to me, it's like, well, I'd love to finish a race. And I finish a race and then people just go like, holy shit, you got no leg. Not like, at the start line, like, oh man, good luck. Hope you go okay.
Yeah.
And I just say back, yeah, you too.
Yeah. Zach, 21K?
Yeah, I'm running
Excited?
with Matthew.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do it together.
Yep.
It's going to be fun.
It's a sweet course.
Sweet course. Yeah, we've done some of it. We've done the lake. Me and Eric went from the lake all the way up to the redwoods. And, of course, I ran it last year, so I have some knowledge of it. But it's going to be fun to get him out there, toe the line. I told him towing the line's the hardest part.
Yeah.
And then the rest is just fun and a little bit of pain. He asked me earlier this week if it's going to hurt, and I'm like,
hell yeah, it's going to hurt. Embrace the pain.
Just own it.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun.
You paid for it.
That's right.
Yeah,
everyone says to me, "Oh man, it hurts." I'm like, "You paid for this
Yeah,
shit."
it's a go no go.
Yeah, you paid to be here.
Yeah, you paid to be here.
Yeah. Anywhere else. This is where you chose. It's gonna be fun.
So do you guys have a time, or is it just to finish?
Just to finish.
Just to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Zach, the extra amount of time that it will take, is that going to cause you any stump issues or anything like that?
I mean,
because you advertise yourself as a sub ultra specialist.
Yeah. So I mean, I am running an ultra in April where I live, but this is just training for what's to come later on in the year where it gets really tough.
Dude, you got a celebrity running as your pacer, as your guide. Special.
No pressure. Yeah.
You got your.
You guys are great.
All right. Hey, look. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
this has been amazing. What a privilege, and we can't wait to see you both.
Hopefully we can end up on Instagram. I'm always, giving some feedback, and I haven't seen Troy on any Tarawera stuff of an elite runner here.
Yeah,
it'd have been really cool to get him, some PR, ask some questions like what distance is he doing, so that way people can see a guy like him doing this. That's my only feedback.
You know what we need to get onto Instagram is this merch.
Oh yeah,
the T-Roy merch.
It's coming.
T-Roy merch.
Tell us about it.
UTA.
Yeah.
Well, it's when I first started running, my original leg runner, he said, "Man, you look like a dinosaur when you run. You got to use your arms more." Because I was thinking, well, if I conserve energy, if I'm conserving energy and I have my little paws up near the pecs and trot along. So, the
Coach
the
Eric
dinosaur,
was looking there.
Yeah, the dinosaur, and then just put a running blade on the dinosaur. And when I played basketball, people called me T-Roy.
Yeah.
So it sort of just came to stick. But yeah, the merch will be coming out at UTA. We'll have a booth at UTA. And you know what? I just want to thank you two guys, Dirt Church Radio, for being enablers. We often talk about, we need people to enable us to get the message out and support us and to be true enablers like you guys have done for Zach and I, to promote adapted running and just promote trail running in general.
They connected us. I was on their podcast.
Exactly. We both run the podcast, and this is where the Love Fest started. So I just want to thank you guys for being enablers. It sort of really, touches my heart and soul that you every time I reach out, you guys are like, hell yeah, let's have a chat and let's sort of keep pushing the agenda and the purpose. So thank you guys. Keep rocking on.
Yeah.
Absolutely, our pleasure.
Yeah.
We're here for it. You guys are fun.
Yeah, you guys are rad, and so we will see you tomorrow. Hopefully, we will be. We're starting the 21 tomorrow, so we have the privilege.
Are you running?
No, we're starting.
3, 2, 1,
so
go.
3, 2, 1, go. So we'll be there at Lake Tikitapu tomorrow. So we're doing starting 100 miler.
You guys have a long day tomorrow then, huh?
Yeah.
4 a.m. start call?
That's their ultra.
3 a.m.
3 a.m.
3 a.m.
And then we're on the mic we're doing the night train. So we're through the night, rocking through. So.
Getting on the night train.
No sleep till Tiki Tapu, I guess.
Coffee.
See you out there.
Over there. All right.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Okay, that's us for today. As we mentioned, we will bring you a full rundown later in the week. We're going to have our regular aid station show out on Wednesday, which means if you're a subscriber, you'll get an advanced copy of the podcast. So if you want to hear about the races and what we got up to at Tarawera, first sign up to become a member of the DCR aid station crew, and links are in the show notes or on our website.
In the meantime, we're on social media at Dirt Church Radio. You can email us, dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. Don't forget, if you had a cracking run at Tarawera, don't just tell us about it. Send it in to us, dirtchurchradio@gmail.com.
Thanks to our sponsors, Scott Running, Further Faster, Currens and CLE, and Wild Things, and our Substack subscribers, the DCR Aid Station crew.
Stay tuned for our show on Wednesday for the DCR Aid Station, and then we'll pop it out later in the week as well with a bonus. Check it out. Hei konei, hei kona. Thanks, Rigby.